All right, my lovely friends, it is Friday, May 28th, 2021, still Friday. This is my post-market wrap-up. I have a lot of stuff to talk to you about. Some of it is laughable, very laughable. In fact, be ready for it. Anyway, we got more economic news today, and guess what? It was all bad. So let's start off with the basics like I always do. All right, so what happened today in the market? Pretty much nothing. We did have gains for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, but nothing dramatic here. I would say pretty much a flat day with regard to the stock market. The dollar fractionally higher. Despite that, gold and silver put on decent gains today. They started out lower, but ended higher. Now, let's talk about gold and silver real quick. These two assets have done very, very well over the past month or so. We're talking about gains of like over 8 and over 6% respectively. Gold now over 1,900. We got silver over $28. Still, those ratios that I've been referring to lately, the Dow gold ratio, look this stuff up. It still remains around 18, and the silver gold ratio about 66. So these things are on sale big time. You know that. Cryptocurrencies today fell under pressure, and that's something I want to talk about in just a little bit because we got a warning today from JP Morgan. And that's kind of where I'm going to crack up a little bit. But let's go back to the market again real quick. So again, stable 10-year yield, dollar slightly stronger, crude oil weaker today, and that's limiting the gains in the stock market. You know how this works, okay? Now, I want to go over some lovely, really lovely economic news. So what did we find out earlier today? U.S. incomes are cratering, despite the fact that we're booming and I guess we're supposed to be creating jobs. Oh, wait a minute, no. 406,000 people applied for first-time unemployment benefits last week. Look, they could twist these numbers all they want to. This is what they're letting us know about. But the fact of the matter is, people in this country are in dire straits right now. With incomes cratering, with the threat of inflation. Well, how about this? This is what they're allowing us to know. I want you to keep this in mind. So this morning, okay, we found out U.S. incomes cratering. As a matter of fact, by the largest margin on record. The largest margin on record. Now, inflation, this is what they're letting us know, is surging at its fastest pace since 1992. So let's see, we have an environment here where the average person is having to deal with lower income and surging inflation. Sounds terrific, but don't forget, the Federal Reserve has reassured us all multiple times that this is just transitory. It's going to miraculously go away. It's going to just vanish. You know that, right? And again, when you hear that kind of talk out of a Federal Reserve president, you know the polar opposite is true. Do you believe for a split second that you're going to hear the truth out of a Federal Reserve president? I don't think so. I really don't. You know, we haven't heard from Lex Luthor in a while. Neil Kashkari, the Lex Luthor of the Federal Reserve. And then we have the demon of the Federal Reserve, Loretta Mester. What a freak. Absolutely. Now, let's talk about a little more with regard to inflation, because this is some of the news that we got today. And again, this will not shock you. No shock face. No surprise, because I told you this was going to happen from months ago. So, high energy prices and shortages, supply line shortages, are being blamed for the issue with regarding rising inflation. Again, every mechanism you can think about and things you can't even dream about are going to be used to have you look here, don't look here. Again, this is the Federal Reserve. It's their responsibility. As a matter of fact, part of the mandate of the Federal Reserve is price stability. You understand that, right? How is that looking? It isn't looking too well. Prices are not stable. They are rising rapidly as the Fed continues to run its inflation creation machine. You know how this works. Issuing debt through one door, buying it through another door. It's literally a revolving door. It's a machine to deliberately create inflation. And they're continuing to do this with no end in sight, despite the fact that we're booming and things are great. You understand? Well, that's what the mainstream is telling us. It's an amazing thing. Now let's talk about JP Morgan real quick. So what do we know about JP Morgan? First of all, they're the largest bank on the planet by assets. They're the largest rigger of precious metals on the planet. They're the ones that are responsible for it. Everybody knows it. Nothing happens. Okay. We also understand that the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, has never once ever been correct with regard to Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies. Okay. But now JP Morgan is coming out warning that what we're seeing lately with cryptocurrencies falling under a lot of pressure recently, they're saying it's about to get much worse. Now to me, okay, that makes me more bullish, okay, because we know that JP Morgan has been consistently wrong with regard to cryptocurrencies. Its CEO, who probably owns boatloads of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and out of the other side of his mouth, is bad mouthing it. Look, that's just my take on it here, and you already know me, how I am looking at this. What's happened lately to cryptocurrencies, I don't care. It doesn't faze me at all. I am like massively well positioned here with regard to my holdings of crypto. Again, I started buying Bitcoin around 3,000. To say I still have a massive profit is an understatement of the year. The only crypto I'm actually underwater on right now is Dash, and I'm buying. I'm a buyer here at these levels. So that's my take on that too. And I think you all know that. I'm not going to change my perspective. I've outlined this for you. You're not going to find a guy in this market that is more steady than I am. I have a very specific strategy that I use to attack this market. All my lions know about it. You know how I'm playing this. I put out a new stock pick today. Guys and girls, look, with regard to stock picks, please learn how to play these things. If you are just buying calls and or puts, you are missing out on a lot here. And you're exposing yourself to an enormous amount of risk. You got to learn credit spreads, and you got to learn how to sell options. Sell options. Buying them, great, but you're fighting time decay. And it's not an easy thing to overcome. And even when you're buying options, you got to know how to play these things. You can't just buy them and sit back. You got to babysit these things, and you got to know when to get out too. Anyway, that's just for you traders out here. You know how this thing all works. The whole thing is working. So anyway, let's put this together real quick. What's changed here with regard to the market so we know where it's going in the future? How about, well, nothing. We still have a Federal Reserve inflating on a massive scale, suppressing rates on a biblical scale, and they're not going to stop. They're running their inflation machine, but there's no inflation, and or it's transitory according to the Federal Reserve. Okay, we know this is all dog shit. It's not true. Inflation is going to get much, much worse. As a matter of fact, we had the CEO of Costco today. He was out, I think it was on CNBC, explaining that food prices rising is very real, and it's starting to pinch people. And this pinch is going to get a lot worse as people, again, are earning less money. Again, going back to what I said, the middle class is being erased. Systematically erased. Step by step by step. And every day we get closer to a complete elimination of the middle class. And also, as I said just this morning, I believe, the well-off, the rich, could not possibly be doing better here. The middle class, they're the ones suffering. They're the ones struggling right now. And if you're in the lower rung below that, you're probably not watching this video blog because you're already done. But anyway, look, you and I, are going to stay on the right side of this. We're gonna use what they're doing to our advantage. Period. The end. And that's what this is all about here, people. You can't stay in the dollar. If you're a dollar bull, there is something seriously wrong with you. You need to be long the stock market here. You need to be putting cash to work in the stock market here, on the long end, taking advantage of it. It's going higher. It's going higher as the Fed continues to inflate. You understand? It's got nowhere else to go until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, we will change our perspective. But understanding the mechanism here, that they haven't even begun to inflate, okay, with regard to the Fed or the world central banks. We need to be looking on the opposite side. We need to be in hard assets, physical gold, more specifically physical silver. Listen, if you have one asset that you want to invest in my opinion, just one, it would be physical silver. Everything else is just fluff, okay? It's just fluff. Silver is where it's at. So to take advantage of this, again, just gauging at what I've been screaming from rooftops lately, looking at the Dow gold ratio and the gold silver ratio, you will see that what I am saying here is 100% true. Okay? Silver is the most undervalued asset on the freak show planet. You understand? All right, look, people, that's it. That's what's going on here. I think I covered a lot of important things today. I want to hear from you. Do you believe, finally, that JP Morgan is correct about cryptocurrencies? They've been wrong since their inception. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon himself, has never been right, not one time. Do you think that cryptos are about to crater? And if they do, what would you do about it? What would you do about it? Would you dump whatever cryptos you have? Or would you say, I'm in this for the long run and I'm going to add to my positions? But let me explain this to you in case you don't know. That's what I will be doing. If JP Morgan's call here, their warning on cryptos, is correct and it craters, I say I'm going to be backing up the truck. I can promise you that. All right, people, like I said, it is Friday. I'm going to let you all go with my favorite 3 things. But before I do that, it's a 3-day weekend. Okay, the market is closed on Monday. However, I will be live with Alex Jones on Monday. I'm not sure of the time. Hold that thought. 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Me and Alex will be on live. I think it's band video or something along those lines. Anyway, and you will not see me again till that show. And I will do a markets a look ahead on Monday. Okay, so you get to see me twice if you want to. All right, people, love each other, care about each other, and be charitable. Please embrace these 3 things. We're all going to be better off once we start doing that. I'm out of here again. Love you all a lot from the heart, and I'll see you all Monday. Oh, Crypto Kid tomorrow.